So I guess time and the lack thereof must be the theme of this video. Hello, welcome back to Black Bear Forge. Today I thought I'd do just a little bit of a question and answer session and talk about a few newsworthy items, at least newsworthy in my small little isolated corner of the world of blacksmithing. The main piece of news is that Steve Fontanini is back in the anvil business. Apparently, the folks that bought Fontanini Anvils were never really very serious about selling anvils. I had mentioned earlier that they had suspended all anvil sales. Steve was able to acquire the stock of anvils that were still at the foundry. He's going to make it right with the foundry, pay the bills, and get those ready to sell and ship. Unfortunately, he's lost access to the old Fontanini Anvils website. He can't get back into that. It's still there. You might still be able to find contact information from Steve, but he doesn't control that website anymore. So I'll link to his other website down below, and that's where you'll find information on Fontanini Anvils going forward. I looked last night and I didn't see anything listed yet, but I think as soon as he's up and running again, you'll find anvil information on that website. The next thing I wanted to talk about is something we've talked about before, and that is people on Amazon using my videos and photos pulled from my videos as screenshots to promote products that I have absolutely nothing to do with. Now in the past, these sites that don't represent Ken's Custom Iron have been selling tongs that look exactly like Ken's Custom Iron tongs and using my video about Ken's tongs to promote their product. I don't represent them, I have nothing to do with them, I don't want to have anything to do with them, but short of hiring an international copyright attorney, there's not much I can do with it. So if you see scenes from this shop promoting a product on Amazon, those people are using my content, my images, without my permission. It's unethical and it's probably illegal, but like I say, I can't afford to hire an attorney to deal with it, so I'd appreciate it if you don't do business with those people. Now, this was brought to my attention because Jerry, somebody who has sent us a guillotine tool to look at here, found his exact style of guillotine tool, one that was really very unique to him. Nobody else was selling it. He didn't copy the idea from somebody else. But somebody on Amazon is selling one that looks exactly like his, and they're using the images from my review on Jerry's product to sell their product. So if you're buying a guillotine tool on Amazon, try to pay attention who you're buying it from. And if you like Jerry's guillotine tool and want to buy one of those, go to his Etsy shop and buy one directly from him. So try to support those people in the blacksmithing community that originally came up with the idea. They're your peers, they're your fellow blacksmiths, not somebody just looking to make a fast buck. Next thing, I thought I would look at a box that came in the mail. I've already opened this, so I know what's in it. And this is from somebody else named Jerry. Pretty sure they're not the same guy. And what Jerry has sent are some old teeth from a cultivator. And while these probably don't have a lot of specific use as blacksmithing projects, they might be high carbon steel, it's hard to say. There are 5 of these things. One of them still got part of the mounting on it here. Pretty interesting. But I see these things as part of a decorative element of some sort of a square frame with these at the sides, the top, the bottom, or maybe a quatrefoil where these come in from the sides. Not exactly sure, but I think we're going to do something that repurposes this agricultural implement for ornamental purposes. The other thing he sent was a broken off piece of an old plow blade. Now modern plow blades tend to be some sort of a wear-resistant steel, but a lot of these old ones were things like 1085, 1095. Sometimes you still see things using the term plow steel, improved plow steel, or extra improved plow steel. And I'm pretty sure extra improved is 1095. So we'll do some spark testing, and if it's a good high carbon steel, we're going to make some sort of a cutting implement, maybe a small meat cleaver or something like that out of that. So thanks for sending this stuff out, Jerry. I think we'll have some fun with this in a future video. But before I get to answering your questions, I have a question of my own for those of you who live and work in the world of metric measurements. And that question has to do with stock dimensions. What is it that you actually keep on your stock rack or your material pile or wherever you store material that's the common sizes for metric measurements? I kind of make some random guesses and use close approximations. People complain that 3/4 of an inch is really a lot closer to 19 millimeter than 20 millimeter. But for some reason, I got the impression you were more likely to have 20 millimeter stock. So what is it you stock? And I don't need a big range of dimensions, just kind of a range of the average thicknesses, like 6 mil, 12 mil, 20 mil, 25 mil, 30 mil, whatever it is. that you use all the time. So is 19 mil the common size that you stock in your shop? Or is 20 mil the common size that you stock in your shop? I don't mind giving metric approximations, but if I have to start worrying about it down to the tenths of a millimeter, I'm going to go to something like fractional miles for all the measurement, and nobody will understand what I'm talking about. And while we're talking about measurements, I want to reiterate that you shouldn't get hung up on measurements. What I'm trying to teach here are concepts, techniques, things that spark your creativity, not exact how-to plans that require the exact same starting stock size that I have. If I'm using a 1/2-inch bar and you only have 3/8 bar, see if you can adapt the project to use the 3/8 bar. Or maybe you're working in metric and you have 12 millimeter or 15 millimeter, I have no idea. But use your imagination, use your creativity, think a little bit out of the box. Don't just try to follow step A, B, C, D. You'll learn a lot more if you have to psych some of this stuff out on your own. Now, another measurement people always ask about is measurement of time. How long did that take? Now, that's something that I intentionally don't give you most of the time, because how long it takes me has nothing to do with how long it's going to take you. If I have more experience, I have tools that are specifically designed to do a project, I'm going to get it done a lot faster. A good example are simple S-hooks. On an average day, I can make about 24 S-hooks in an hour. Does that mean you're not worthy if you can only make 1 S-hook an hour or 1 S-hook in a day? No, of course not. You're learning. Take the time you need to do a good job. Don't get hung up on how long it takes somebody else to do the job. The amount of time it takes to make something has so many variables, it is just completely unrealistic to compare one person to another unless you're selling your work and you need to sell it for a certain amount to make your hourly rate that you need to make. But then you need to not only keep track of time, you need to keep track of expenses, and those two things kind of work together to try and figure out what that happy medium for an hourly rate is. If you have real low overhead, you can take more time to make something. If your overhead is high because you have a power hammer and a hydraulic press and you're leasing an industrial building to work in, you have to make a lot more per hour, so you really have to have less time in any given project to charge the same hourly amount. Besides that, my time to make something like this heading plate we did is affected by cameras. I'm moving cameras around, I'm moving lights around, I'm dealing with microphones, all sorts of things, changing batteries. Stuff is in my way and I can't work as efficiently as I might normally because there's a camera that I'm bumping into, or I can't take a full hammer swing because there's a camera just right here. I have to try not to hit it, and that really throws things off. But for me, making the heading plate and the bolster plate, that was about a 6-day project. But that's video time, not just blacksmith time. Another popular question is, when are you going to build the ribbon burner forge? For those of you who don't know, somebody sent me a ribbon burner. Been a few years now. I have most of the parts. I got some plate steel to build the body out of. I've got a blower that is meant for gas forges. Have the ribbon burner, valving, most of that stuff I have on hand. Still need to figure out what I'm going to do about refractory and lining and all that kind of stuff. But there are a few reasons why I haven't gotten around to building it. One, I'm really happy with the forges I get from Chili Forge. They have been outstanding. They have increased my production. They are super reliable, and they are super helpful if you call them and ask, for example, why can't I get to a forge welding heat at 6,500 feet? And they solve that problem for me, and I can forge weld in these gas forges. So I'm not in a big need for a ribbon burner forge, and I'm not in a big hurry to have one. And when I do get around to it, I need to put the time into it to do a good job. And going back to the time it takes to make videos, if I'm making a video every week, I don't have time to make a ribbon burner forge. That's going to be a 2, 3, 4 week project, and you guys will want to watch 1 or 2 videos out of that, but you're not going to want to watch 4 weeks in a row of waiting for refractory to dry or me welding up a body for a forge or whatever it is that I'm doing that week. I'm going to have to reach a point that I'm okay just not putting out videos for a few weeks until I get that project done and can do a proper job both on the forge and on the video presentation on how I built the forge. Now, if you're hoping I can provide expertise on how to build a ribbon burner forge and a video about that, I haven't a clue. I've never built one, never used one, only been around 1 or 2 of them in my life. So I'm not the expert on them. I'm learning as I go. You might learn something from me, and I might give you some bad ideas. Now, in that same vein, I've started messing around with some other projects that are going to be long-term projects. This is supposed to be a test piece for a window grill. I have a lot of practice to do before I get this right. And to do that, again, I'm going to have to devote a week or 2 weeks just to practicing the techniques. You've already seen me do this piece, so you know what my first starting point is, and you don't need to watch 2, 3, 4 videos of me just doing test pieces. So this grill is waiting till I get that figured out, and figuring it out is waiting for me to have the time. Again, I think I need to be able to devote 4, 6, 8 weeks to this project just to make sure I get it right. And to a lesser degree, the same thing holds true for some of these other elements we've looked at that I said we're going to go into a big project. Again, I'm just waiting for the time for that. This I've got all sorts of ideas for. It's going to be another one of those 4 to 6 week projects that's going to monopolize a shop. I got to clear everything off the big workbench. And what I've learned over the years is anytime I start a project like this, if I have to do something else in the shop while I'm working on this all gets shoved in the corner and pushed aside somewhere, and then I forget about it. I can't find all the pieces, and it really turns into a mess, takes a lot longer. The project doesn't come out as well. So a lot of these big projects, a lot of the things I really want to do for videos here on Black Bear Forge are really waiting for me to somehow find way more time than I actually have. So I guess time and the lack thereof must be the theme of this video. But I haven't abandoned any of these ideas. I'm still planning to work on all of them. But I do realize that at some point I have to make fewer videos to be able to do these things. At the beginning of this year, it was my intent to put a lot more effort into videos and trying to do 2 videos a week here at Black Bear Forge, do at least 1 video a week at the Black Bear Forge 2 site, and still do 1 or 2 videos a week on my personal YouTube channel. Did you know I had a personal YouTube channel? It's just called John Switzer. It's more of a vlog style channel where I talk about the things I'm doing when I'm not in the shop. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I'm still making videos over there, although I'll probably cut back a little bit here in the near future. And I'll put a link to that channel down in the description and at the end of the video. So if you're interested in that, by all means, stop by, subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything to subscribe to a YouTube channel. But the reality is trying to do 2 videos a week on 3 different channels is not sustainable. I've already completely failed on that goal for the new year, so it didn't last very long. The things kind of reminiscent of Hook of the Week, Scrap Bucket Challenge, are going to head over to the Black Bear Forge 2 channel, and those are going to be the videos that I make there. And then that Black Bear Forge 2 channel I'm going to use kind of as a back to basics channel. That's where we're going to talk about simple things like hammers, or maybe talk about files. We're going to make really simple beginner projects. S-hooks, toasting forks, all those things that are wonderful project for beginners, people working with very simple equipment. Probably not going to see much power hammer, hydraulic press, fly press, things like that over there. We're going to keep it really basic, and I'll link to it at the end of this video and down in the description as well. So I hope that answers some of your questions. And if you were disappointed when you found out that Steve wasn't doing Fontanini Anvils anymore, you're in luck. He's back, and hopefully you'll be able to buy an anvil from him in the near future. If you'd like the videos, I'd love it if you give them a thumbs up. That really does help the channel, and subscribing really helps. I'd love it if you go ahead and do that. In the meantime, I hope you have time in your day to get out to your shop, make something, stay safe, wear your safety glasses. We'll see you for the next video. Now, I gotta clean this mess up.